Good morning. I'm Denise Smiler, Chair of the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board. I would like to ask everyone to please silence your cell phones and all electronic devices at this time. With 6 board members present this morning, I'd like to call today's meeting to order. I would like to note for the record that Commissioner Sarah Manzano-Diaz is unable to join us this morning due to a prior commitment, and that Commissioner Sean Dillon will be joining us via phone. Is Sean on the phone, Doug?
Yes.
Sean, can you hear me?
I'm here, Madam Chair. Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Sean. Thank you. In addition to the 6 board members, we also have 2 of our ex officio members with us. Jennifer Langen, representing Stacy Garrity, State Treasurer, and George Augusto, representing Russell Redding, Secretary for the Department of Agriculture. I would also note for the record that Adria Zimmerman, representing Pat Brown, Secretary for the Department of Revenue, is unable to join us today due to a scheduling conflict. Thank you, ex officios, for joining us. As the first order of business, I'd like to ask everyone to please rise and join me in a recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we will hear from our Executive Director, Kevin O'Toole. Kevin.
Good morning, Chair Smiler, members of the board. As we celebrated the board's 20th anniversary as an independent agency within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania last year, we wanted to find a meaningful way to honor the dedication and achievements of the employees who have helped shape this agency. To do that, we held a contest inviting our staff to design a tribute, something that reflects who we are, what we value, and the spirit of teamwork that defines the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board. Today, we are pleased to unveil the winning design that will serve as the foundation for our new employee recognition tribute. This tribute will proudly display the names of employees as they reach their 20 years of service with the agency. We received 5 thoughtful and creative submissions from across the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board. After careful consideration by our review committee, one design emerged as the clear choice. The winning design was created by Adam Elliott, who is sitting with us here today. Adam is a casino compliance representative at assigned to Valley Forge Casino Resort. Adam has worked with us for approximately 4 years. Adam's work artfully incorporates imagery representing the gaming activities regulated by the board, while also paying homage to horse racing, one of the earliest forms of gambling in the Commonwealth. Adam shared with us that his inspiration was rooted in a cherished family memory. His mother's fondness for the horse race game played along the boardwalk during family vacations to Ocean City, Maryland. Additionally, he expressed that his design serves as a tribute to his supervisor and colleagues at Valley Forge Casino, whose support and guidance have been instrumental throughout his tenure with the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board. Adam is joined today by his mother, Michelle Elliott, in the front row there. He credits her with instilling in him the drive and determination that have guided his professional journey, noting that her encouragement played a significant role in his decision to pursue a career with the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board. He attributes much of his success to her unwavering support. Adam, on behalf of the agency, I extend my sincere appreciation for your creativity, your thoughtful approach, and your meaningful contribution to this milestone initiative. So now I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Administration, Claire Yantis, who will award a certificate and a gift to Adam.
When we embarked upon this a little over a year ago, it was with a little bit of risk because we weren't sure we would actually get any submissions to design a plaque like this. So we are very grateful for your submission and the excellent representation of what it means to be an employee of the Gaming Control Board. So I'm here to present you with this certificate in recognition of your creativity, innovation, and contribution to the design of the 20-year Employee Recognition Board. Your artistic vision helped create a lasting tribute honoring years of dedicated service. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Head over to do the unveiling. Kevin's gonna. Are you talking again?
No. Not until the unveiling occurs.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice.
So we already have the names of approximately 20 to 30 employees who have reached that 20-year milestone. And as new employees reach that goal, their smaller plaque will be attached to the whole array there.
Okay. Adam, on behalf of the board, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude for the beautifully crafted plaque you designed. It will be admired for many years to come, and we appreciate your continued dedication to the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board. Thank you so much.
You'll make it on that board 14 years from now.
All right.
So I have the next order of business, which is to recognize some of the newer employees who have reached those milestones. And just to give a little bit of an introduction, we're continuing a process that we began quite a few years ago to recognize employees for their years of service and to be able to add a few more names to the plaque. I would also like to note that of the 381 Gaming Control Board employees, 172 have reached at least 10 years of service, representing 45% of our employees.
Wow.
138 have reached 15 years of service, which represents 36% of our employees. And we have 41 who have reached 20 years of service, which represents 11% of our employees. So this morning, we have 4 individuals who have come to receive their certificate of recognition. Okay, our first is Kevin Kyle. Kevin, I would like to award you this certificate of appreciation. The certificate of appreciation for your 20 years of service with the Gaming Control Board. You were hired in May of 2006 as an auditor, and since February of 2009, you've held the position of Director of the Sports Wagering Operations Unit within the Executive Office. Kevin, thank you very much for your hard work and your long service to the Gaming Control Board. And next, I have Douglas Harbach. He is
What?
he is the face of the agency, to be honest with you. You will see Douglas in more circumstances in terms of representing the board than any other individual on our staff. And we very much appreciate that. So your 20 years of service, here is your certificate of appreciation. And you were hired in July of 2006 as the Deputy Director of Communications. And it didn't take very long, less than a year, when you were promoted to Director of Communications. So we very much appreciate your work. Thank you for everything you do. And next, we have Sean Kovach. Good morning, Sean. Thank you so much for coming to get your certificate. Sean, here is your certificate of appreciation for your 20 years of service. And you began in July of 2006 as an administrative assistant. And since July of 2012, you've been the executive assistant to Chief Counsel, to the Chief Counsel within the Office of Chief Counsel. And I also want to thank you very much for your recent participation in the SECA campaign. Sean is our agency coordinator for the Commonwealth's SECA campaign this year, and she did a great job last year. So thank you very much, and thank you so much for your service. Okay, and I'm losing track of my sheets of paper here. Catherine Shope. Catherine was hired in April of 2011 as an applications developer, and since July of 2019, she's held the position of Information Technology Generalist with the Office of Information Technology. We are recognizing Catherine for her 15 years of service this morning. And we appreciate all of the extra work you do for the board. I think everybody knows Catherine already. If they have an issue with their computer or their laptop or anything of that sort, Catherine is always right there to help out. Thank you very much for your service. Now, before we end that part of our program, I always like to recognize individuals who met the criteria of longevity and received a certificate, but were unable to come to the board meeting. So we have 3 employees who have reached their 20-year milestone, 5 employees who have reached their 10-year milestone. For the 20-year, we have Angela Harper. Angela was hired in June of 2006 as an auditor, and since March of 2012, she's held the position of Casino Compliance Representative assigned to the Hollywood Casino at Penn National Racecourse within the Bureau of Casino Compliance. Second, we have Tara Ottenberg. Tara was hired in June of 2006 as an administrative assistant. Since February of 2011, she has served as the executive secretary with the Bureau of Casino Compliance. And our third honoree is Sherry Meganell. She was hired in July of 2006 as an administrative assistant, and since May of 2021, she has served with the Bureau of Licensing as a licensing analyst. And we also have 5 employees who have reached their 10-year anniversary. And these include Eric Talapan. Eric was hired in April of 2016 as a technical field representative with the Bureau of Casino Compliance, and he is assigned to Wind Creek Casino. Edgar Mitaj. Eglar was hired in May of 2016, and he too is a technical field representative with the Bureau of Casino Compliance assigned to Parks Casino Bensalem. And Kevon Brown. Kevon was hired in August of 2016 as a casino compliance representative with the Bureau of Casino Compliance, and he is assigned to Rivers Casino Pittsburgh. And Chase Crosby. Chase was hired in August of 2016 as a casino compliance representative. Since September of 2010, Chase has held the position of casino compliance supervisor with the Bureau of Casino Compliance, and he is assigned to Happy Valley Casino. And finally, we have Kimberly Kupnewski. Kimberly was hired on August the 8th of 2016 as a casino compliance representative with the Bureau of Casino Compliance, and she is assigned to Presque Isle Casino Downs. So I'd like to congratulate all 12 of our Service Award recipients and thank them all for their service.
Thank you, Kevin. I would also like to congratulate all of the staff named for the years of service to the board and to the citizens of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. By way of announcements, the board held an executive session yesterday, Tuesday, May 19th, to discuss personnel matters and to conduct quasi-judicial deliberations relating to matters coming before the board. I would like to now ask for approval of the board meeting transcript and minutes from the March 25th, 2026 meeting. May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board approve the minutes and transcripts of the March 25, 2026 meeting.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed? Motion's adopted. Now we will again hear from our Executive Director, Kevin O'Toole. Kevin.
I should have just stayed in my seat. So I have just one item on my executive director's report this morning, and I would like to take this time to express my gratitude and appreciation for a 20-year employee on the board who will be retiring in the next couple of weeks. She would not be present for the next public meeting, so we decided to use this public meeting to recognize her. And that is Linda Lloyd. Linda, she's over in that corner over there. Linda has spent 19 of her 20 years as the director of the Bureau of Hearings and Appeals. And as all of you know, every one of our public meetings, such as this, has a significant amount of work product from the Office of Hearings and Appeals in the reports and recommendations section. And Linda certainly had a lot to do with the smooth operations of board meetings, along with the Office of Chief Counsel and the Office of Enforcement Counsel. They basically coordinate the work that the board does every single month. So I would just like to express appreciation to Linda and wish her the best in her retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And Linda, on behalf of the board, I would also like to thank you for your years of service and all of the dedicated hard work that you put into your position. We really appreciate all these hearings that went very smoothly, and we had a ton of them. I think in 1 year we had like 6. So you did an excellent job. So thank you so much. Okay. Now is our Office of Chief Counsel.
Morning.
Good morning.
The board has 3 petitions for consideration. Each of these petitions are being brought before the board on the documentary record or as there have been no objections or the requested relief has been agreed to. In each of these matters, the board has, in advance of this meeting, been provided with the complete evidentiary record. The first petition before the board today is a nunc-pro-tunc request from YFS Sub LLC and its affiliate YFS Sub Voteco LLC for approval of 2 separate transactions which resulted in a change of control of a licensed fantasy contest operator. YFS Sub is a licensed fantasy contest operator. YFS Sub was a wholly owned subsidiary of Yahoo Fantasy Sports LLC, who was licensed as an affiliate of YFS Sub. The first transaction occurred in 2021. Yahoo and its subsidiaries were owned by Verizon Communications at that time. Verizon announced the stock purchase transaction with College Point LP, an investment firm with funds managed by Apollo Global Management, Inc. The transaction resulted in the sale of all equity interests of Oath, Inc. and Verizon Media Group for approximately $5 billion. YFS Sub was one of the entities, one of many entities, that was a part of that overall transaction. The transaction was completed on September 1st of 2021, prior to any request for approval from the board. However, given the nature of this transaction, no new entities or individuals were required to file for licensure. The second transaction occurred in November 2024 with the corporate reorganization of YFS Sub's ownership. A new managing entity, YFS Sub VoteCo LLC, was inserted into the corporate structure, resulting in YFC VoteCo now holding 100% of the voting and management interests of YFC Sub. David Sambor and Daniel Cohen, the members of YFC VoteCo who are already licensed by the board. However, YFC VoteCo had not filed an application for an affiliate licensee, nor had the parties filed a request for the board for approval of the transaction, which involved the change of control. YFC VoteCo did ultimately file the requested application for an affiliate license on December 11th, 2024. The Office of Enforcement Counsel has responded to this matter and has no objection to the petitioner's request for approval of these transactions, nunc pro tunc, subject to conditions outlined in their answer. I would further note for the record that this matter is the subject of a consent agreement, which will be addressed by the board later today. But the petition at this point is now ready for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Huffman moves that the board grant YFS Sub LLC's and YFS Sub VoteCo LLC's petition for change of control as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, subject to the conditions that will be outlined in the board's order.
Commissioner Quinones Sanchez seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The next petition before the board today is a request from May McElwain for removal from the involuntary exclusion list. By way of background, on January 26, 2019, a patron unknowingly dropped her wallet, which was picked up by Ms. McElwain, who then entered a nearby restroom, and upon exiting the restroom, turned the wallet into casino personnel. The patron who dropped the wallet was located and her wallet was returned to her. However, she indicated that $700 in cash was missing. Ms. McElwain was charged with theft. Consequently, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a petition to place Ms. McElwain on the exclusion list, resulting in an August 14, 2019 board order placing her on the exclusion list. In October of 2020, Ms. McElwain requested early removal from the list, which was denied by the board. The order also stated that she could request removal upon the passage of 5 years or June 24, 2024. In April of 2026, Ms. McElwain filed her current request for removal from the list. At this point, she has successfully completed an accelerated rehabilitative disposition program from the criminal charges which she faced, and she also has made full restitution, and her record has been expunged. Her criminal record has been expunged. And now, therefore, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed an answer stating it is no objection to Ms. McElwain's request and that she be removed from the exclusion list. And this matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Quinones Sanchez moves that the board grant May McElwain petition for removal in the board's involuntary exclusion list.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The final petition to be considered by the board today is the Office of Enforcement Counsel's omnibus petition requesting an administrative order to remove 66 individuals from the board's involuntary exclusion list. Each of these cases involved the person entering or attempting to enter a Pennsylvania casino while under the age of 21. Additionally, in each of these cases, the board had ordered the person to be placed on the exclusion list until at least the person's 22nd birthday. All individuals listed in this petition were placed on the list sometime between April of 2014 and October of 2017, meaning 9 to 12 years have elapsed since their placement on the list. However, none of these individuals have petitioned to be removed from the list. The board had previously granted a similar omnibus petition in 2018, removing underage individuals from the exclusion list, and the Office of Enforcement Counsel, as well as the Office of Chief Counsel, believe it is again appropriate to remove these individuals from the involuntary exclusion list. As such, the Office of Chief Counsel would ask for a motion to remove these individuals from the list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board approve the Office of Enforcement Counsel's omnibus petition for removal of individuals from the PGCB involuntary exclusion list as described by the Office of Chief Counsel.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey seconds this.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Next, presenting withdrawals and surrenders as well as reports and recommendations is Deputy Chief Counsel Chad Zimmerman.
Good morning, Commissioners. The next matter before the Board today pertains to several unopposed petitions to withdraw applications or surrender the credentials of the following individuals and entities: Patrick Ramsey, Brooke Bardoxe, Andre Nesset, Onfido Inc., Green Racing Management Company, Greenwood Gaming Services Company, Yaniv Sella, Benjamin Sutherland, Timothy Dawson, Martin Yanovsky, Plain State Holding AB, and Joachim Dahl. The Office of Enforcement Counsel has no objections to any of these withdrawals or surrenders. As a result, if the Board chooses to grant the request, in every case it would be doing so without prejudice to the requester. These matters are all now ripe for the Board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey moves that the Board issue orders to approve the withdrawals and surrenders as described by the Office of Chief Counsel.
Commissioner Huffman seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next before the Board for consideration are 12 reports and recommendations received from the Office of Hearings and Appeals. These reports and recommendations, along with the evidentiary record for each hearing, have been provided to the Board in advance of today's meeting. Additionally, the persons involved have each been notified that the Board would be considering their matter today, that each would have the ability to come forward and briefly address the Board. If any of these persons are present today and would like to address the Board, they should come forward when their name is called. The first report and recommendation before the Board today is Erica Rivera, who I believe is present.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
In October of 2025, Ms. Rivera submitted a gaming employee occupation permit application seeking to work as a table games dealer at Rivers Casino, Philadelphia. In November of 2025, the Office of Enforcement Counsel issued a notice of recommendation of denial of Ms. Rivera's application based on allegations that Ms. Rivera had been convicted of promoting gambling in New York. A hearing in this matter was held February 23, 2026. OEC appeared offering testimony and documentary evidence. Ms. Rivera appeared and testified on her own behalf. Evidence and testimony presented at the hearing showed that Ms. Rivera disclosed her full criminal record on her application, stating that in August 2011 and December 2011, she pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges of promoting gambling in the state of New York. In November 2022, Ms. Rivera obtained a casino employee registration in New Jersey and had been working as a poker dealer at the Borgata until July of 2025. She moved to Pennsylvania to take a table games dealer position at Rivers Casino, Philadelphia. Ms. Rivera apologized for her criminal actions, stating at the time she was a single mother and engaged in that conduct to ensure that her family could stay in their home. Following the hearing, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that Ms. Rivera's application be denied. As per the Gaming Act, 15 years had not elapsed since her conviction of a gambling offense, but further recommended that she be permitted to reapply as soon as the 15-year prohibition expires. This matter is now ripe for the Board's consideration.
Ms. Rivera, would you like to be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please stand and be sworn by the court reporter?
I swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
You may proceed.
Okay. I had originally applied about 6 years ago for the same thing that I was applying now. And when I did that, I was told that they didn't really have a problem with the misdemeanor, but that I didn't have a work history following it, feeling that maybe I was still doing it, which I understand. And so I went to work. They told me to work on the books for 1 year and that they would give me a license. Unfortunately, right after following COVID happened. So I waited until the casinos opened. I was at the Borgata for 3 years. I called the Gaming Commission in Pennsylvania after that 3 years, and they told me that they didn't foresee any problems. So I left my job at the Borgata, moved to Pennsylvania, and then up until literally the day I was denied, everybody was telling me that it would be fine. And I don't know what to do right now because I can't afford to move back. And I was just hoping that, I've done nothing wrong before or after. I was hoping that maybe you guys would give me a chance now instead of making me wait until next year. It's just a financial stress for me. And that's really all I wanted to say.
Any questions for Ms. Rivera? Ms. Rivera, they never told you it was a 15-year
No, ma'am,
limit?
they did not. If they would have done that, I simply would have just stayed at the Borgata until next July.
Unfortunately, for Ms. Rivera, it is a 15-year statutory prohibition, which Chad informed me runs in December of 2026. So she would be statutorily ineligible until December of 2026.
Did you say December? Because they told me July.
As discussed, there was what we believe a miscalculation from your conviction date. Your conviction date was December of 2011, so 15 years would be December of 2026.
Unfortunately, Ms. Rivera, we are bound by the statute, and I guess that's another 6 months or so before you can apply.
Now, they had said that they would take away the 5-year because I was denied now. They said that they would remove that so that I could apply next year. Is that still in effect for me?
Yes,
Okay, so as long as there's no other issues.
as long as there's no other issues.
Right, I
before
don't
December.
foresee any, thankfully. But then there would be no reason why next December I wouldn't get approved if it was just based on this one event.
That is this December, not next December.
Next December, yes, next December. I realize that. So I can just reapply next December.
You could probably apply prior to that, right?
Should apply realistically in January.
Oh,
It has to be, whatever date the conviction was, it has to be 15 years.
years. So I could try in January?
Yeah, definitely in January.
Okay.
If you, I don't know the date of conviction off the top of my head, but you can apply the day after that.
All right, so not this coming January, the following January?
No,
No,
it's
no.
this,
Oh,
it's
this
this
January.
December. It's this December.
Oh,
December
Okay.
December 13th of 2026.
oh,
is
so
the
it
date
kind
that
of
we have.
went in my
Yep.
favor a few
Yep.
months?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay,
you can apply December 14th of
Okay.
2026.
okay. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in. Okay.
I
Any,
can leave now?
any other questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Huffman moves that the board adopt in part the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearing and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that Erica Riviera's gaming employee occupation permit application be denied, but that she shall be eligible to reapply after December 13th of 2026. I further move that certain documents which will be outlined in the board's order be marked as confidential or redacted.
Commissioner Quinones Sanchez seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Next before the board is a report and recommendation pertaining to Stephen Lee's petition to lift the suspension of his gaming employee occupation permit. By way of background, in March of 2025, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a complaint seeking emergency suspension of Mr. Lee's gaming employee occupation permit after receiving notice he had been charged with felony firearm offenses. Thereafter, the board's executive director issued an emergency order suspending Mr. Lee's permit. A hearing in this matter was held July of 2025. Mr. Lee failed to attend. OEC appeared providing testimony and documentary evidence supporting the fact that the felony charges, along with several traffic violations, had been filed against him. Subsequently, the board issued an order continuing the suspension of Mr. Lee's permit. In December of 2025, Mr. Lee filed his request to lift the suspension of his permit. A hearing in this matter was held March of 2026. Mr. Lee failed to appear, and OEC made an oral motion to dismiss the matter, resulting in an initial report and recommendation being issued recommending denial of the request. Thereafter, however, Mr. Lee filed to reopen the record, providing evidence that one of the felonies was withdrawn and the other was null prost. As no felony charges remain pending against him, OEC has changed their position and no longer objects to Mr. Lee's request to lift the suspension. A supplemental report and recommendation was issued recommending that the petition to lift the suspension be granted, and this matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Quinones Sanchez moves that the board adopt the report and recommendations issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel and grant Stephen Lee's petition to lift the suspension of his gaming employee occupation permit. I further move that certain information which will be outlined in the board's order be redacted.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next before the board is Ha-Tran's report and recommendation. On September 27, 2024, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a petition to place Ha-Tran on the board's involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Tran failed to answer the petition, and in March 2025, the board placed Mr. Tran on the exclusion list. Thereafter, on April 2, 2025, Mr. Tran contacted the Office of Hearings and Appeals asking to be removed from the list. The board vacated their order placing Mr. Tran on the list, treating his request as a request for reconsideration, and a hearing was scheduled and held February 11, 2026. OEC appeared and presented testimony, documentary, and surveillance evidence. Mr. Tran failed to appear. Evidence at the hearing showed that on June 7, 2023, Mr. Tran was found passing match play coupons not issued to him to numerous players for their personal use. Mr. Tran also then used a match play coupon that had not been issued in his name. He was permanently evicted from the property for his actions. Following the hearing, the report and recommendation was issued recommending that Mr. Tran be placed on the involuntary exclusion list, and this matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board adopt the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearing and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that Ha Tran be placed on the board's involuntary exclusion list. I further move that certain documents, which will be outlined in the board's order, be marked as confidential or be redacted.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey seconds this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted.
The next report and recommendation before the board pertains to Salvatore Denora. In June 2025, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a petition to place Mr. Denora on the board's involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Denora requested a hearing, which was held February 18, 2026. OEC appeared at the hearing, presenting documentary, testimony, and surveillance evidence. Mr. Denora, however, failed to appear. The uncontested testimony showed that between June 15th and June 28th, 2022, Mr. Denora conspired with an executive host at Live Casino and Hotel in Philadelphia, where he would give the host his player's card along with the individual player's cards of others so that she could add free slot play and comps to the cards, some of which the host did in exchange for money from Mr. Denora. No charges were filed against him. However, he was permanently evicted from the casino. Following a hearing, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that Mr. Denora be placed on the board's involuntary exclusion list, and this matter is now ready for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey moves that the board adopt the reports and recommendations issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that Salvatore Denora be placed on the board's involuntary exclusion list. I further move that certain documents, which will be outlined in the board's order as marked as confidential, or be redacted.
Commissioner Huffman seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted.
Next is the report and recommendation for Jacob Landis. In June 2025, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a petition to place Mr. Landis on the board's involuntary exclusion list. A hearing in this matter was held February 19, 2026. OEC appeared presenting evidence. Mr. Landis also appeared and testified on his own behalf. The evidence and testimony presented at the hearing showed that between February 16th and March 7th, 2025, Mr. Landis played approximately 70 hands of Texas Hold'em poker at Hollywood Casino, York, where the table games dealer ended up overpaying him winning wagers and paid out pushed or losing wagers, resulting in improper gains to Mr. Landis and improper losses to the casino. The same dealer also allowed Mr. Landis to place a successful call bet, which is prohibited in Pennsylvania regulated gaming. Mr. Landis received over $28,000 in ill-gotten gains. He was charged with theft-related misdemeanors, permanently evicted from the casino in order to pay restitution to Hollywood, which he did pay in full. Mr. Landis testified that there was no collusion between he and the dealer, stating that the improper payments are not abnormal during gaming, that he knew the bets he was being paid for were improper payments, but argued that the evidence only showed he accepted them, not that he took improper action. He also stated these incidents often occur when they occur at the casino. Casino usually just requests return of the funds from improper wagers, and the patron returns the funds without incident if requested. So Hollywood could have requested to return the payments and he would have done so. After hearing all the testimony and evidence, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that Mr. Landis be placed on the involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Landis did file exceptions, arguing that the matter has been resolved between him and the casino and placement on the list is not warranted. This matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Huffman moves that the board adopt in part the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that Jacob Landis be placed on the board's involuntary exclusion list. I further move that certain documents, which will be outlined in the board's order, be marked as confidential or be redacted.
Commissioner Quinones Sanchez seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted.
Vincent Procopio's matter is next before the board. The Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a petition to place Mr. Procopio on the board's involuntary exclusion list, alleging that he damaged slot machines and attempted to claim other patrons' jackpots at Live Casino Hotel in Philadelphia, as well as the fact they allege he is a career offender. A hearing in this matter was held September 11, 2025. OEC appeared presenting evidence. Mr. Procopio appeared with counsel and testified on his own behalf. Evidence presented at the hearing showed that in January 2023, while gaming at Live Philadelphia, Mr. Procopio reported to casino staff that he had damaged a slot machine, stating he accidentally broke the panel by pushing too hard as the screen had frozen and he was trying to cash out a voucher. He offered to pay for the damage, and a review of the Pennsylvania State Police noted that the damage was an accident. In September 2023, while at the casino, Mr. Procopio noticed that the machine he sat down to play at was damaged, and he reported the same to staff. Surveillance review determined that Mr. Procopio was telling the truth and he did not cause the damage. On May 25, 2023, a self-excluded patron partnered with Mr. Procopio to play a video poker slot, which ultimately hit a jackpot. Mr. Procopio's player's card had been inserted in the machine. However, the jackpot was confiscated after it was determined that the other individual was on the self-exclusion list. Mr. Procopio testified that he saw the individual at the casino 5 days a week for over a year's time, that he did not know he was a self-excluded individual, and had he known, he would not have engaged in gaming with him. Mr. Procopio was charged with theft-related offenses for this incident, but was found not guilty, and his record was expunged. On March 8, 2024, Mr. Procopio and another individual were playing a slot machine together as partners when a jackpot was once again hit. Mr. Procopio's player card was in the machine when the attendant arrived. Mr. Procopio testified he could not remember who had pressed the button that won the jackpot. Both he and OEC's witnesses testified that the rule is whoever pushes the button results in a jackpot is ultimately the winner. The other individual did not object to Mr. Procopio receiving payment, but the jackpot was never paid. After hearing all the evidence and testimony, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that the Office of Enforcement Counsel petition to place Vincent Procopio on the list be denied, and this matter is now ready for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Quinones-Sanchez moves that the board adopt the report and recommendations issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that the Office of Enforcement Counsel's petition to place Vincent Procopio on the board's involuntary exclusion list be denied. I further move that the documents in this matter be marked as confidential.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Next is Matt Simon's report and recommendation. In August of 2025, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a petition to place Matt Simon on the board's involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Simon requested a hearing, which was held January 13, 2026. OEC appeared presenting testimony and documentary evidence. Although receiving proper notice, Mr. Simon failed to appear and the hearing was held in his absence. During the hearing, OEC argued that Mr. Simon had a repetitive pattern of initiating chargebacks on iGaming operators and had been suspended from several gaming platforms due to these chargebacks. Evidence presented showed that between 2017 and 2023, Mr. Simon initiated numerous chargebacks on at least 9 interactive gaming and sports wagering platforms totaling more than $19,000, most of which were successful. There was only one instance where Mr. Simon's behavior appeared to be legitimate, specifically in December 2022 when he deposited money into an iGaming account versus a sports wagering account. Ultimately, that's what the funds were intended for. Following a hearing, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that OEC's petition to place Mr. Simon on the interactive gaming exclusion list be denied, as the credit card companies ruled in Mr. Simon's favor for every chargeback. This matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board adopt the report and recommendation.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chad.
Reject. I
Okay.
apologize.
We have a typo, sorry. Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board reject the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearing and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that Matt Simon be placed on the board's involuntary interactive gaming exclusion list. I further move that the certain documents will be outlined in the board's order, be marked as confidential, or be redacted.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey seconds this.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next is a report and recommendation pertaining to Tyree Ellis. In March 2023, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a petition to place Tyree Ellis on the board's involuntary exclusion list for pinching a wager at Harrah's Philadelphia Casino and Racetrack. Upon being confronted by casino staff for his actions, he became verbally and physically aggressive with them. Consequently, the board placed Mr. Ellis on the list in September of 2023. Mr. Ellis is now requesting removal from the list, stating he did not pinch that wager, and he had a discussion with the staff regarding the allegations and that nothing combative or physical occurred. OEC filed an answer objecting to Mr. Ellis's request for early removal from the list, as he did not demonstrate extraordinary facts or circumstances to warrant early removal. A hearing in this matter was held March 10, 2026. Despite receiving notice, Mr. Ellis failed to appear. OEC appeared requesting that Mr. Ellis's petition be dismissed, and a report and recommendation was issued to that effect. This matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey moves that the board adopt the report and recommendations issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that Tyree Ellis's petition for removal from the involuntary exclusion list be denied. I further move that all prior orders in this matter regarding confidentiality or redaction of documents in this record remain in effect.
Commissioner Huffman seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Next before the board is James Nix's report and recommendation. On November 20th, 2024, the board placed Mr. Nix on the involuntary exclusion list following an August 2022 incident where he left his infant daughter in a hot car while he entered Rivers Casino Philadelphia to place a sports bet. Mr. Nix is now requesting to be removed from the list. The Office of Enforcement Counsel filed an answer objecting to the request, and a hearing was held February 12, 2026. OEC appeared presenting testimony on documentary evidence. Mr. Nix appeared and testified on his own behalf, expressing remorse for his actions, stating he had changed his habits and views on gambling and does not currently gamble. He further stated he believed he was only excluded from Rivers Philadelphia when he attempted to enter Live Philadelphia in March 2025 in violation of the exclusion ban. Mr. Nix wished to be removed from the list so he can meet up with friends who frequent casinos to watch sporting events. Following a hearing, a report and recommendation was issued recommending the denial of Mr. Nix's request as he did not show extraordinary factors or circumstances that warrant removal from the list. This matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Huffman moves that the board adopt the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that James Nix's petition for removal from the involuntary exclusion list be denied. I further move that certain documents which will be outlined in the board's order be marked as confidential or be redacted.
Commissioner Quinones Sanchez seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The next report and recommendation stems from a request for removal from the voluntary self-exclusion list by individual with the initials HN. On October 4th, 2016, HN placed himself on the casino self-exclusion list, choosing the lifetime exclusionary period. On October 7th, 2025, HN requested removal from the list, claiming he would like to return to casinos in order to game for entertainment purposes. On October 30th, 2025, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed an answer stating it had no objection to HN's request. As per the board regulations, 10 years had elapsed and he was eligible for removal. However, OEC did state in their answer that HN had numerous violations of his self-exclusion ban. Subsequently, the board remanded the matter to the Office of Hearings and Appeals to conduct an evidentiary hearing. The hearing was held March 12, 2026. OEC appeared providing testimony and documentary evidence. HN also appeared and testified on his own behalf. Evidence and testimony presented showed that HN had properly filled out the exclusion form, signing all required acknowledgments, which included that he was prohibited from entering casinos while on the list. HN repeatedly ignored this prohibition, and between 2012 and 2025, he entered what is now Mohegan, Pennsylvania, and gamed using players' cards or IDs belonging to others. He was identified each time as a self-excluded individual and cited for trespass. Prior to the hearing, HN was directed to provide additional information regarding the problem gambling assessment that he had completed and submitted with his request for removal. He did not comply with that directive and simply stated during the hearing his desire to be removed from the list and that he is not a compulsive gambler. Consequently, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that HN's request to be removed from the list be denied, and this matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Quinones Sanchez moves that the board adopt the report and recommendations issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that HN's petition for removal from the self-exclusion list be denied and he remain on the self-exclusion list. I further move that this matter be placed under seal as it involves a excluded individual.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The next report and recommendation stems from another request for removal from the voluntary self-exclusion list. On June 14, 2014, an individual with the initials NF placed himself on the self-exclusion list, choosing the lifetime exclusion period. September 2025, NF filed his request to be removed from the list, stating he does not want to access casinos to gamble, but that as a comedian, he would like to be able to book shows for himself at casinos. The Office of Enforcement Counsel filed an answer stating they had no objection, but did note that NF had numerous violations of his self-exclusion ban. The board remanded the matter to the Office of Hearings and Appeals for the holding of an evidentiary hearing, which was held March 5, 2026. OEC appeared offering documentary and testimonial evidence. NF appeared and testified on his own behalf. The evidence and testimony presented showed that NF had properly completed all the self-exclusion paperwork, signing all the required acknowledgments, which included acknowledging that he was prohibited from entering licensed facilities for his lifetime. NF failed to comply with this requirement, violating his exclusion on numerous occasions by entering and gaming at both Rivers Casino Philadelphia and Valley Forge Casino Resort. He was repeatedly cited for defiant trespass. NF testified that he is a comedian by trade and that by being on the self-exclusion list, he is losing out on employment opportunities to perform at the casinos. He further stated he has no interest in gambling but just wants to be able to book shows. After hearing all the evidence presented, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that NF's request for removal from the list be denied. The hearing officer did note that if NF wishes to book comedy shows at the casinos, there is a process established by the board where a self-excluded individual can request permission to enter the casino and engage in his or her employment while still on the list, and this matter is now ripe for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board adopt the report and recommendation issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel, and that NF's petition for removal from the self-exclusion list be denied and he remain on the self-exclusion list. I further move that this matter be placed under seal as it involves a self-excluded individual.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey seconds this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The final report and recommendation before the board today stems from a petition to recover funds confiscated from an individual while on the self-exclusion list. The Office of Enforcement Counsel filed an answer to AM's request objecting to it. The uncontested facts are that on October 3, 2024, AM completed the necessary self-exclusion paperwork, choosing the one-year exclusion period, acknowledging that she had to request removal after the one-year period expired. On October 29, 2025, AM gamed at Mount Airy Casino Resort and was eventually identified as a self-excluded individual, and $1,346 was confiscated from her. Later that same day, AM completed the process of removing herself with the help of an Office of Compulsive and Problem Gambling employee. On November 13, 2025, AM filed a request to recover the monies confiscated from her, saying she believes she had removed herself from the list October 17, 2025, that she does not understand what happened during the removal process, and that she received a letter stating she could return to casinos as of October 28, 2025. A hearing in this matter was held March 4, 2026. AM failed to appear. OEC, however, appeared presenting testimony and documentary evidence. The evidence showed that AM did in fact access the board's online self-exclusion database on October 17, 2025, and began the process of removing herself from the list. However, when AM arrived at the final step and attempted to submit the request for removal, an error message popped up and was displayed on the screen, meaning she was not being removed from the list. Thereafter, a report and recommendation was issued recommending that AM's petition to recover funds be granted in part and denied in part, and that she be permitted to recover $91.40, which was the amount of the credits on the machine and did not constitute winnings. This matter is now ready for the board's consideration.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey moves that the board reject the report and recommendations issued by the Office of Hearings and Appeals as described by the Office of Chief Counsel and grant AM's petition to recover monies confiscated from her while on the involuntary exclusion list, and that all $1,346 be returned to AM. I further move that this matter be placed under seal as it involves a self-excluded individual.
Commissioner Huffman seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted.
That concludes the matters of the Office of Chief Counsel.
Thank you, Steve and Chad. We will now have the Bureau of Licensing matters presented by the Director of the Bureau of Licensing, Sean Hannon. Sean?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Today's first licensing matter for your consideration is the Interactive Gaming Manufacturer License for Ruby Play USA, LLC. Formed in 2018, its principal place of business is in Malta. The company distributes various casino gaming products to licensed interactive gaming operators in the Commonwealth. The company was granted interim authorization on March 4th, 2026. The Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement has completed its investigation, and the Bureau of Licensing has provided you with a background investigation and suitability report. I have provided you with a draft order and ask that you consider the order to approve Ruby Play USA, LLC for an interactive gaming manufacturer license.
The Office of Enforcement Counsel has no objection.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Huffman moves that the board grant the interactive gaming manufacturer license as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Quinones Sanchez seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Next, we have consideration of an interactive gaming manufacturer license for A-Wager Incorporated. Formed in 2023, its principal place of business is in Jersey City, New Jersey. The company intends to offer software integration products which allow interactive gaming patrons the ability to play physical slot machines and electronic table games. The required investigation is complete, and licensing has provided you with a background investigation and suitability report. I have provided you with a draft order and asked that you consider the order to approve A-Wager Incorporated for an interactive gaming manufacturer license.
Enforcement Council has no objection.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Quinones Sanchez moves that the board grant the interactive gaming manufacturer license as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
And next is the renewal of an interactive gaming manufacturer license for Every Interactive LLC. The company was formed in 2011 and is headquartered in Las Vegas, Nevada. Every Interactive LLC produces and provides online gaming content to operators in the Commonwealth. The investigation is complete and licensing has provided you with a background investigation and suitability report. I have provided you with a draft order and ask that you consider the order to renew the interactive gaming manufacturer license for Every Interactive LLC.
Enforcement Council has no objection.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board grant the interactive gaming manufacturing license renewal as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey seconds this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Also, we have the renewal of an interactive gaming manufacturer license for 888 Atlantic Limited, doing business as Evoke. The company was formed in 2013 and its principal place of business is in Gibraltar. 888 Atlantic Limited provides technology to interactive gaming activities, including online casino and poker. The investigation is complete and licensing has provided you with a background investigation and suitability report. I've provided you with a draft order and ask that you consider the order to renew the interactive gaming manufacturer license for 888 Atlantic Limited.
Enforcement Council has no objection.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey moves that the board grant the interactive gaming manufacturer license renewal as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Huffman seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The next licensing matter for your consideration is the renewal of the video gaming terminal supplier license for H. Betty Industries Incorporated. Formed in 1947, its principal place of business is in Carlstadt, New Jersey. The company sells and services video gaming terminals and associated equipment. The investigation is complete and licensing has provided you with a background investigation and suitability report. I provide you with a draft order and ask that you consider the order to renew the video gaming terminal supplier license for H. Betty Industries Incorporated.
Enforcement Council has no objection.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Huffman moves that the board grant the video gaming terminal supply license renewal as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Quinones Sanchez seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted.
Next, there are principal, key employee, and qualifier licenses. Licensing has provided you with a proposed order for 21 principals, 15 key employees, and 2 qualifiers. I ask that the board consider the order approving these licenses.
Enforcement Council has no objection.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Quinones Sanchez moves that the board grant the principal, key employee, and qualifier licenses as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted.
There are also principal and key employee temporary credentials. Licensing has provided you with an order regarding the issuance of temporary credentials for 5 principals and 9 key employees. I ask that the board consider the order approving these credentials.
Enforcement Council has no objection.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board grant the temporary principal and key employee credentials as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey seconds this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Additionally, for your consideration are gaming employee permits and non-gaming employee registrations. Licensing has provided you with a list of 599 individuals to whom the Bureau has granted temporary or full occupation permits and 277 individuals to whom the Bureau has granted registrations under the authority delegated to the Bureau of Licensing. I ask that the Board consider a motion approving the order.
Enforcement Council has no objection.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey moves that the board approve the applications for gaming employee occupation permits and non-gaming employees registration as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Huffman seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next, there is a recommendation of denial for 2 non-gaming applicants. Licensing has provided you with the order addressing the applicants who the Office of Enforcement Counsel has recommended for denial. I ask that the Board consider the order approving these denials.
Enforcement Council continues to request denial in each matter.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Huffman moves that the board deny the non-gaming employee applications as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Quinones Sanchez seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted.
The next matter for your consideration is withdrawal request. In each case, the license, permit, or registration is no longer required. For today's meeting, I've provided the Board 2 key employees, 34 gaming and 17 non-gaming applicants. Ask the Board consider the orders approving these withdrawals.
Enforcement Council has no objection.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Quinones Sanchez moves that the Board grant the withdrawal of key employee gaming and non-gaming employee applications as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted.
Finally, for consideration are gaming service provider registrations. Licensing is provided with an order and an attached list of 10 registered gaming service provider applicants. I ask that the Board consider the order registering these gaming service providers.
Enforcement Council has no objection.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board approve the gaming service provider registrations as described by the Bureau of Licensing.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Sean. Next is the Office of Enforcement Counsel, Cyrus Petrie. Cyrus.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. The Office of Enforcement Counsel will present 13 matters today for the board's consideration, in which we will request the approval of 4 consent agreements, 5 revocations, and 4 involuntary exclusions. The board will note for the record that 2 of the pending consent agreements are with Greenwood Gaming and Entertainment. These consent agreements were signed prior to and fully executed prior to the renewal hearing that occurred last month. OEC did take into consideration these violations when making its recommendation to the board with regard to the renewal application. As a result, the Office of Enforcement Counsel did not think or find that anything that occurred was outside of the normal operations of business and would not have an overall negative impact upon the suitability of the licensee. So those matters will be reported during the next renewal. They were not reported because they were pending for the board's consideration. So that's why you did not see them in your renewal packet.
Thank you, Cyrus.
So with that, the first matter on the agenda under the Office of Enforcement Counsel's agenda item is a consent agreement between Category 1 licensee and iGaming certificate holder, Greenwood Gaming and Entertainment, doing business as Parks Casino. The matter will be presented by Assistant Enforcement Counsel Juan Sanchez. Representatives for Parks Casino are present. And at this time, I request that those individuals please introduce themselves for the record and that all non-attorney witnesses please stand and be sworn.
Thank you, Cyrus. Grace Henry, Gracehenry, Vice President Regulatory Affairs and Chief Compliance Officer for Parks.
Good morning. I'm Nick Orison, Orrison, Director of Interactive Regulatory Compliance.
Good morning. Gerald Fretz, FRETZ, Director of Security, Parks Casino.
Good morning. Susan Eckert, Vice President of ECK, Vice President of Group Human Resources.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Wand.
All right, anybody needs to be sworn?
Yes, please.
Any non-attorney witnesses, please stand to be sworn by the court reporter.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. OEC, you may proceed.
Thank you again. Juan Sanchez, Assistant Enforcement Counsel with the Office of Enforcement Counsel at the SANCHZ. This consent agreement arises out of Parks' employment beginning in August of 2022 of New Jersey iGaming support specialists without having received the appropriate license from the board, who were part of the call center staff located in Parks' New Jersey office. These employees provided customer service to account holders and had access to view account holders' personal identifying information, but did not have the ability to adjust players' accounts as a part of their job duties. At the time of the discovery of the violation, Parks employed 5 employees in the position of the New Jersey iGaming support specialist for 1,805 days combined with access to Pennsylvania player accounts. All the New Jersey iGaming support specialists currently employed at Parks have been issued gaming employee occupation permits. On June 14, 2021, the board's Bureau of Licensing sent an email message to Parks that provided licensing guidelines which required iGaming call center staff who have access to the player's personal identifying information to obtain at a minimum a gaming permit. Despite receiving this guidance 14 months later, when Parks began employing iGaming support specialists, Parks did not file gaming employee occupation permit applications for its New Jersey iGaming support specialists, who had access to Pennsylvania iGaming account holders' accounts under the mistaken belief that the position would only require licensure by the New Jersey Division of Gaming Enforcement and not by the board. After the board's Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement discovered that these employees were not licensed, the Bureau of Licensing notified Parks on or about March 31st, 2025 of the issue and reiterated the scope of positions in an iGaming certificate holders call center who require licensure. Subsequently, all 5 individuals properly filed applications for iGaming employee occupation permits. The Bureau of Licensing issued permits to these employees serving as iGaming support specialists between April 15, 2025 and June 5, 2025. Parks' belief that this position did not require permitting arose from a misunderstanding of the employees' access rights. The employees at issue worked in Parks' New Jersey office, separate from Parks' iGaming support specialists who worked in Parks' Pennsylvania office and who were permitted by the board as gaming employees. The Office of Enforcement Counsel and Parks Casino respectfully request that the board approve this consent agreement and stipulations of settlement which require Parks Casino to pay a civil penalty of $40,000 as well as $3,500 administrative fee for costs incurred by the board staff in connection with this matter. If you have any questions, we would be happy to address them at this time.
Thank you. Parks, would you like to be heard?
Yes, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, Commissioners, thank you for the time, and thank you, Office of Enforcement Counsel and Bureau of Licensing for working through this matter with us. Parks does not object to the facts as presented by OEC just now. We would like to point out that this was based on, as OEC indicated, this was based on a misunderstanding of the mistaken belief that the position at issue when it was created in late 2021, early 2022, when Parks was just starting iGaming. There were a lot of factors to look at, and at the time there was a mistaken understanding about the access rights and the obligations of licensure for the iGaming call center support staff. based on that mistaken understanding, that was sort of the job code that was created and followed until recently when the issue was uncovered. Parks's belief was just, again, it was based on a misunderstanding. Parks fully cooperated with the Bureau's investigation into the events as soon as it was alerted to this issue in early 2025. Immediately contacted the Bureau of Licensing to confirm what the standard was, had ongoing conversations with them, and immediately filed the applications at issue. And also presented all of the documents and information requested in the investigation. Parks, I would like to say, has a very strong compliance program, and licensing is no different. We have here today our Vice President of Group Human Resources, as well as our Director of Interactive Regulatory Compliance, who can answer any specific questions. They take great care in ensuring that we properly license all of our employees. We have over 1,000, Parks has successfully managed nearly 1,000 licensing submissions annually. We've processed since opening in 2006 nearly 15,000 employee applications, which is no small task. So I just want to point out that they do, generally, we have a very good process in place. Again, this was one sort of errant misunderstanding of a particular job duty that we immediately fixed upon notification. In addition to having all of the 5 employees impacted have their applications submitted promptly and have them licensed, we have eliminated sort of the 2 different places in which the call center staff were employed to avoid any confusion. We've consolidated the role into one location and one job code. We've also created a new sort of, when HR looks at new jobs that are presented by operations teams, specifically asks the question as to whether there's a requirement to access any personal information as defined by the Bureau of Licensing in that 2014 email, or 2021 email rather. We've also updated our compliance license, our company licensing guidelines, and sent a memo to all of the relevant management teams so that they are also aware and can support the licensing process that compliance and HR work to build. And of course, we have internal audit that reviews things. They regularly audit our iGaming operations, including ensuring that employees have appropriate access to patron accounts. And we're happy to answer any additional questions.
Any questions or comments? I just have a question. Who misunderstood? Who was responsible for understanding the requirement?
It was back in late 2021, 2022, when the iGaming operations were rolling out. There was a misunderstanding among compliance, HR, as well as with operations as to what the access rights were, and sort of an understanding that if they were in New Jersey, there was not going to be any access to Pennsylvania patrons, but that was not quite accurate. They did, in fact, have the access to the Pennsylvania patrons, and that wasn't really clear to compliance and HR, who managed the licensing.
But now they understand and they work together closely so that that won't happen again, compliance and HR?
That is correct.
Okay. And there was no harm done to any of the individuals whose personal information was available to these unlicensed individuals?
That's correct, Madam Chair. That's a very good question. There was no breach of the personal information, no mishandling of the data at all.
Okay. No other questions or comments? Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey moves that the board approve the consent agreement between the Office of Enforcement Counsel and Greenwood Gaming and Entertainment on doing business as DBA Parks Casino as described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Huffman seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is a consent agreement between the Office of Enforcement Counsel and once again Greenwood Gaming and Entertainment doing business as Parks Casino. Matter will be presented by Senior Enforcement Counsel Michael Rowland. Once again, representatives for Parks remain and all necessary witnesses have been sworn. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Rowland.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Michael Rowland, ROL-AND, with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The next matter is a proposed consent agreement which involves 3 incidents of underage access, gaming, and alcohol service which occurred at Parks Casino. The first incident occurred on or about June 12th, 2024, when an identification was turned into Parks security at the valet pickup area by an EVS attendant. The identification was found inside one of the men's restrooms on the casino floor. The identification belonged to an individual with the initials SY, an underage patron who was 20 years old at the time. Surveillance located SY, who was then removed from the gaming floor 40 minutes after the identification was turned in. A review of video surveillance presented that SY arrived on property with 4 male companions. They were observed entering the valet pickup area and walked past security without being asked for identification. SY was on the gaming floor for 2 hours and 46 minutes, gamed at 1 slot machine, and consumed 1 alcoholic beverage. The second incident occurred on or about December 13th, 2024, when an individual with the initials JB, who was determined to be 20 years of age at the time, and a companion, entered Parks Casino through the valet pickup area. Both patrons were asked for identification by security, and the identifications were scanned. JB's identification did not pass authentication. Despite JB's identification failing the scan, both patrons were granted access to the gaming floor. JB was on the gaming floor for approximately 45 minutes and gamed at 2 roulette tables. He did not consume alcohol while on the property. JB was discovered by security when he was departing the second roulette table. After being removed from the gaming floor, JB was involved in a physical altercation with security, resulting in him being restrained, arrested, and charged by the Pennsylvania State Police. Finally, in a third incident, on or about February 16th, 2025, an individual with the initials MD, who was later determined to be 18 years of age at the time, entered Parks Casino via the valet pickup area with a male companion. MD handed security the companion's driver's permit card, which was scanned. The companion then presented his government employment authorization card. Both were then granted access to the casino floor. MD actively gamed at a roulette table and cashed out $150 before leaving the property. On or about February 19th, 2025, MD returned to the casino and entered through the west entrance. When carded by security, MD once again presented the identification of his companion from the February 16th incident. The card was scanned, and MD was granted access to the gaming floor. While he was actively gaming at a roulette table, security approached MD, and his true identity was discovered. Over the course of the 2 days, MD was on the gaming floor for approximately 1 hour and 45 minutes and gamed at 3 roulette tables. He did not consume alcohol while on property. OEC requests that the board approve this consent agreement and stipulation of a settlement entered between the parties. The terms of the settlement include that Parks pay a civil penalty in the amount of $40,000 to the board within 5 days of the board's order approving this consent agreement. Also, within 5 days, Parks shall pay the board $3,500 for the costs incurred by the Office of Enforcement Counsel and other related staff in connection with the matter. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to address them at this time. Thank you.
Parks, would you like to be heard?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Again, thank you for your time and for Office of Enforcement Counsel staff, as well as on-site casino compliance staff working through this issue with us. Parks understands the importance of preventing underage gambling and takes very strong steps to mitigate this. Unfortunately, we have a large influx of people. We have about 4 million guests every year that come through our door, and we work very hard to ensure that underage folks do not get on the floor. Unfortunately, sometimes these errors do occur. When that happens, we take it very seriously, and we take it as a moment to learn and to appropriate redirect the people involved, as well as to look at our processes and procedures and whether any improvements can be made. Here, we have, in addition to training of every individual who interacts with guests receives responsible gaming training that we work on with the Pennsylvania Council of Compulsive Gambling, and everyone who interacts with guests receives that training. We also have departmental procedures training that our Director of Security has to specifically look for underage folks. In addition, we have implemented metal detectors at our door, which not only helps to keep, we've had this for now maybe a couple years. I forget exactly the date that we implemented this, but in addition to keeping the property safe, it helps with funneling so that people don't go to the side and sort of avoid the identification checks at the main door from the security officers. We also implemented Veridox to have just a new scanning system that is very strong. In fact, Veridox really was helpful in picking up these errors that may have gone unnoticed had we not used it. In addition, we audit our responsible gaming program as everything else. Specifically in these incidents, the first involved an individual that it was a human error. The guards who were at the door certainly should have carded this individual, and they let him walk by. They made the mistaken assumption that the individual was over the age of 30, which is the age that we look at, and let him in without carding him. The guards were given progressive discipline, reiterated procedures for that incident, and everyone was pre-shifted on the importance of looking for anybody who potentially looks underage. The other issue with the Veridox, the ID was scanned. It came up as an error. It was a doctored ID. It was a false ID, but there was something that came up on the scan that the security officer should have looked at. They should have said, this is coming up as an error. I need to look at this closer. And again, we took that as a moment to reiterate procedures with that guard to remind everybody of the importance of looking at that. The guard not only just ignored that, but also did not escalate it as appropriate to her manager, which is what is supposed to happen. Frequently, Jerry can speak to this if you'd like in more detail, but Veridox often will have false positives, will have false flags because the IDs are dirty, or maybe there's an update to the software that didn't catch a new ID that rolled out with sort of different, the IDs are changed regularly, so the software may not catch that. So a lot of times the guards will say, oh, this is an error, but they'll rescan it and it will go clear because, they wiped the ID or whatever. In any event, if it doesn't scan appropriately, they're supposed to escalate it to a supervisor to do an additional check, and that didn't happen here. So again, we reminded staff about the importance of following our procedures. And then with the incident involved somebody giving a true ID, but it was their companion's ID. We do our best. I think that the ID looked close to the companion's ID, but nonetheless, that was an error on our part. The person should have recognized that this ID was given in subsequent order to the person the same name. We have also asked Veridox to improve their systems. Right now, they will catch. Veridox has the ability to catch same name, same exact ID. So if you have a driver's license and the same driver's license is scanned within a certain amount of time, we'll get a flag kind of notifying us in case we want to check for somebody passing back an ID. However, this involved two different types of IDs, and so Veridox does not catch that. So we are working with them, as we always do. Hey, in your next update, are you able to potentially add that? So they're looking into rolling that out. But again, it was an error, and we took the opportunity to train and discipline. And actually, I believe that guard in this instance received termination because they should have caught that. I think that's it. But if you have any other questions or specific things you'd like us to speak to, our Director of Security, Jerry Fretz, is here and happy to expand on anything.
Any questions?
Madam Chair, I have a few.
We'll start with Commissioner Huffman and then go to Commissioner Dunbar.
I'm a little bit concerned with your statement that you've learned through trial and through past experiences. You had this same incident in October of 21 where an underage individual came through the valet drop-off. So I'm assuming that you recognized it as a problem in 21. And so what steps did you take in 21 that are different than what you're taking now? And what assurances or what can you tell us that gives us some confidence that you can actually fix this problem?
October 2021, I don't remember the specific facts there.
It was an underage individual who came through the valet door, the drop-off door, the same as these three current things that you're here for. So what did you do in 21, and what are you going to do now that's different to correct this problem?
So since 2021, we have rolled out a couple of things that I spoke to. We implemented the Veridoc system, which has been instrumental in catching fake IDs and whatnot and verifying individuals far better than before. And we also rolled out the metal detector, which assists in funneling individuals so that people aren't able to bypass the checks. So those are two significant overhauls to our underage detection since then.
So prior to metal detectors, people were able just to walk at their own discretion and enter the casino?
No, it just on a very busy day. I don't know if you've been to our casino.
I have not yet.
You have not. You should come visit.
I may do that.
So on a busy night, as I said, we have about 4 million guests every year. On a busy night, a lot of people can attempt to sort of screen their friends and get in without detection because, you know, there's only a couple of people at the door checking IDs. They might be able to bypass the metal detectors, make it a more funneled mechanism. So people, they're not allowed to just walk in without being checked if they appear to be underage. But this makes it much harder to detect, to evade detection.
So as a result of these three incidents that you're here for today, have you changed or updated anything that you put in place in 21 when you looked at this and said you had this problem? Are you doing something different today in policies and training and procedures than that you did that you put into place in 21 that didn't work, that you're now updating for your current problems?
So so you mean since these incidents, not since 2021, correct?
So I assume when this happened in 21, you recognized it was a problem. You made some changes that you thought would address this problem. Obviously, it didn't address the problem. So you have three incidents now that are a problem again. What are you doing differently? What procedures, what training? Have you changed anything since recognizing the problem in 21 as to opposed to we sitting here today? Are we doing something different now to prevent this? Training, procedures?
Right. So since 2024, I think, is when these incidents occurred.
24 and 25.
Yeah. So since the 2024 and 2025 incidents, we have we've continued with our training and we have updated some of the scanners that were erroneous. A lot of them were just not working, so we've replaced them to improve that outcome. We are working with Veridocs to improve their system and their check. As I said, we've asked them to update some of the things that could help to catch the individuals. And in addition, we have additional reviews, not just by the security officers at the door if there's an error, but Security Command will also review any errors that are logged. They get a message. So there's also sort of a funneling of a second check of sorts. So it's not just the security officer who's standing there, that we're relying on them to reach out to their supervisor. We also have the command center who can sort of be a second set of eyes on the issue.
Thank you. Madam Chair, that's all I have.
Madam Chair, I'd like an opportunity to address the board, please.
Certainly. Commissioner Dunbar, do you want to ask your question
Yeah, let me ask my question, and maybe you can follow up, because it will be pretty much directed to you anyhow. In looking through this, it seems like every entrance was through the valet entrance where all these problems occurred. Is there some inherent difference of that entrance that the problems all came through that, or is it just randomness that they all came through there?
Well, two reasons. I think it's coincidence. There is a lot of activity. Our valet customers who go to pick up their vehicles, they're in that lobby area. They pay with credit cards, so there is some distraction. We do have 3 entrances. In September of 2022, we placed metal detectors at all our entrances. At the request of the gaming board in January of 2024, we changed from ID scan to Veridox. So the incident where we have someone utilizing a fake ID that came up red, that the security officer should have recognized. What you have to understand is that on any given day, as our council brought up, we have about 10,000 patrons that we entertain daily. A number of the licenses do come up red, authentication error, but they're the result of a typical driver's license in Pennsylvania is good for 5 years. So if a barcode gets scratched, or the license is dirty, or somehow has some type of a scratch on its surface, it comes up as not authorized. So at that point, the security officer will attempt to clean it. We have cleaning tissues at that location and attempt to scan it. If it comes up again, then we summon a security manager to that location to make a determination if indeed that person may have other ID that identifies them as of age, and we take those steps. So we pride ourselves in professionalism and the ability to follow the gaming board regulations. Unfortunately, there is human error. If an individual decides not to follow the rules and regulations that we instill, the SOPs that we instill, they no longer work for me. Those individuals that didn't follow the rules and regulations, i.e. allowed someone to access the floor without challenging them when they were underage, they no longer work for Parks Casino. So I have high standards. We try to do the best we can. In that time frame, we've had about 16 million people walk through our doors and had, 3 or 4 incidents. But if a guard doesn't follow the rules, they don't work for me. We stress every day at pre-shift to make sure that you recognize the individuals as they walk in. Someone may present an ID card of a sibling, and they may look similar, and then they'll end up accessing the floor. But, the security officers are told that you got to match the face to the card, and we do our best. So.
Commissioner Dunbar?
Just the Veridox system, everybody I've ever spoken to as far as this, they rave about it. It is the best system out there. So I do commend you for having that system. It's only good as the people operating it, of course, and human error is what happened here, I believe. I just, like I said, just make sure that the problem isn't the valet entrance if there's something inherent there. That's all I ask.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? Jerry, did you address the question of whether the valet entrance is somehow different than the other entrances?
Madam Chair, it's a similar entrance as our valet drop-off. The only other thing that we have there is, like I said, there's a lot of individuals waiting for their vehicles. So in order to enhance security at that location, we utilize our rovers. If a security officer who's at that particular location is being overwhelmed because, sometimes buses pull in or whatever, they summon additional security personnel to assist them to make sure that everybody goes through the checkpoint, in addition to our security managers, while they're not engaged in other activities, including myself when I work the evenings. We migrate to those doors, particularly in the front where we have a large amount of folks that come in.
And just so I'm clear, Veridox does sometimes have false negatives, and you said that security officer will try to clean the driver's license or whatever, but if they don't get rid of that false, they are required to go to a supervisor or a manager to make.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And if a supervisor manager makes a determination that, that they're unable to identify that person properly, now there are circumstances that you can, I'm prior law enforcement, so there's circumstances where you can ask law enforcement to utilize the BMV to run their OLN. And so I'll give you an example. If someone traveled from New York City with their family to come to a show, and there's a family of 10 and one of the individuals can't get in, out of a courtesy, I'd reach out to law enforcement and I would have them run the operator license number to to determine if in fact it was a true identity out of courtesy. That's not something that we do every day, but I mean, we can do that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, may I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Huffman moves that the board approve the consent agreement between the Office of Enforcement Counsel and Greenwood Gaming and Entertainment, doing business as Parks Casino, as described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Quinones Sanchez seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Parks.
Thank you, ma'am.
The next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is a consent agreement between the Office of Enforcement Counsel and Category 2 licensee and iGaming certificate holder, Wind Creek Bethlehem LLC, doing business as Wind Creek Bethlehem Casino. This matter will be presented by Assistant Enforcement Counsel Thomas Monahan. Representatives for Wind Creek are present. At this time, I request that those individuals please introduce themselves for the record, and that all non-attorney witnesses please stand and be sworn.
Michael Magazoo, Magazzu, Corporate Director of Compliance and Risk Management at Wind Creek Hospitality.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Patrick Ryan, Patrickryan, General Manager.
Candy Fralick, Fralick, General Manager, Online Gaming, Wind Creek Hospitality.
Lucas Andrews, Lucas Andrews, Gaming Manager for Wind Creek Hospitality.
Will all non-attorneys please rise and be sworn in by the court reporter?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. OEC, you may proceed.
Good morning, Thomas Monahan, Monaghan, with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is a consent agreement reached between Wind Creek Bethlehem LLC and the Office of Enforcement Counsel concerning an incident of interactive gaming know your customer requirement violations. From about March of 2021 to May of 2021, Wind Creek was contacted by multiple individuals reporting unauthorized charges through the Wind Creek iGaming platform to their credit cards. It was discovered that multiple individuals were making fraudulent deposits using stolen personal identifying information and stolen credit cards. A total of 45 individuals were involved in this fraud group, and total 530 deposits using stolen financial instruments were successful for a total of $229,600. A total of $629,823.65 was wagered, with winnings of $564,525.61. All of the fraud group's withdrawals were requested to be conducted in person at the Wind Creek Casino. 14 individuals went in person and made a total of 26 withdrawals at the casino cage. The total amount of withdrawals completed was $92,216. At the time of the withdrawals, COVID protocols and policies were in place, and during these withdrawals, Wind Creek Cage employees did not request individuals to remove their mask and or clothing items that impeded their face in order to verify the identity with the government identification. It did not verify the signature on the government identification with the withdrawal slip signature. Wind Creek failed to have sufficient procedures to detect and prevent fraudulent behavior as described. Insufficient Know Your Customer protocols allowed for the creation, access, and use of multiple accounts by individuals, the creation of accounts using the personal identifying information of other individuals, the funding of accounts using stolen or fraudulently obtained payment devices, and the withdrawing of funds at the casino cage by individuals conducting fraudulent activity, which constitutes violations of the relevant sections of the Act and the regulations promulgated thereunder. Wind Creek has since improved its Know Your Customer protocols and is currently in compliance with PGCB standards. OEC now requests the board approve this consent agreement and stipulation of settlement entered into between the parties. Terms of the settlement include that Wind Creek shall pay a civil penalty in the amount of $50,000 to the board within 5 days of the board's order approving this consent agreement. Also, within 5 days, Wind Creek shall pay the board $3,500 for costs incurred by the board staff in connection with this matter. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to address them at this time.
Thank you. Wind Creek, would you like to address the board?
Just briefly, thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. We have thoroughly reviewed and discussed with the Office of Enforcement Counsel the proposed terms of the settlement, of the consent agreement, and we believe the terms are both fair and accurate. We want to note that these matters that are the subject of the proposed consent agreement occurred in the early part of 2021, which was the infancy of our iGaming operations. We've since learned a lot about the entire operation, particularly here the attempts at fraudulent activity that can occur on an iGaming site. We have implemented a variety of anti-fraud measures, as noted in the proposed consent agreement, including the confidential exhibit that is included with the proposed consent agreement. And with that, if you have any questions, we will do our best to answer.
Any questions? Commissioner Dunbar.
Briefly, we've had dozens of cases in regarding this with Wind Creek, several others, but mostly all with Wind Creek. What was your weakness that you got attacked more than anybody else did? What have you found that made you guys more vulnerable?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, do you mean dozens of other cases in addition to what are in the proposed consent?
Dozens of individuals that we have excluded for fraudulent activity on their iGaming accounts.
Okay.
The overwhelming majority of them have been with Wind Creek.
Yeah.
What was your weakness that was attacked, and have you addressed it?
To answer the second part first, we certainly believe we've addressed it, and through the measures that are, I would say, specifically included in the confidential exhibit, which we're not going to note on the record today. I'm going to turn to Ms. Freilich and Mr. Andrews in a second, but I know that one major issue we had, which was the subject of this series of incidents, was the holes that we had where people could use other people's identities to deposit funds and then come in person to withdraw, and not having the anti-fraud security measures in place. And those are make up, I think, a large portion of the incidents you're referring to, and the corrective measures we have taken, I think, fill a lot of those holes that we had around the 2021 timeframe.
The individuals that committed the fraud, were charges brought against them?
We don't know. We've referred this to the state police, and we defer to the state police about whether to file charges against those individuals. At the last time we checked, we weren't able to confirm that any of those individuals were charged.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Any other of your panel members want to address the board? And I know we can't go into specifics with regard to the confidential information, but I do think there was something put in place by Wind Creek where in the past, and this was one big ring of 45 people or so, they were able to use dozens of other people's credit cards or whatever. Did Wind Creek put some limitation on that aspect of the ability to use like 50 other people's identifications or credit cards? Is there any limitation put on that?
Yes, Madam Chair, and thank you for recognizing that. It was briefly noted in the body of the proposed consent agreement, but that is one of the several things that we did in response to this series of incidents, is that we significantly limited the number of different cards that someone could use as part of these transactions on the iGaming site.
Well, that's certainly a start. And having somebody go to the cage and actually cash out after somebody else's credit card was used, I'm glad you addressed that as well, because there weren't actually that many people that did that, but it was significant to note that they were able to do that, even on the rare occasions. So
yes, as far as if I may, as far as the fraud that occurred at Wind Creek in 2021, we wanted to ensure that we identified as many individuals as possible and put them on the exclusion list before moving forward with this. We only have 3 more matters three more exclusions pending with the board that will be coming in the future. And I think we identified a total of 24 of the 40 individuals. We were unable to identify the remaining individuals. As far as Wind Creek goes, they were the third worst that we've dealt with so far. So I just wanted to make that clear. They weren't the worst. But still in all, fraud is fraud. And we were thankful that the individuals were not bright enough to just stay online, but also to come into the casino. So that aided us tremendously.
Thank you. I think OEC did a great job in this case.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, may I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Quinones Sanchez moves that the board approve the consent agreement between the Office of Enforcement Counsel and Wind Creek Bethlehem LLC, also known as Wind Creek Bethlehem Casino, as described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted. Thank you, Wind Creek.
Thank you.
Next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is a consent agreement between the Office of Enforcement Counsel and fantasy contest operator YFS Sub LLC, doing business as Yahoo Fantasy Sports. The matter will once again be presented by Assistant Enforcement Counsel Thomas Monahan. Representatives for Yahoo Fantasy Sports are present, and at this time I would request that those individuals please introduce themselves for the record, and that all non-attorney witnesses please stand and be sworn.
Good morning, Benjamin Farrell, Ferrell, of the law firm Brown C. Hyatt Harper Schreck on behalf of YFS Sub LLC. And to my left is Kelly O'Connor, Chief Counsel for Yahoo.
Kelly O'Connor, Chief Counsel at Yahoo.
Ms. O'Connor, could you just spell your name? Just for the
OCONNOR.
Okay, thank you.
Thomas Monahan, once again with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. This matter involves two incidents of change of controls that were completed without prior approval by the board. At the time of licensure on April 17th, 2019, and up until September 1st, 2021, Yahoo Fantasy was a wholly owned indirect subsidiary of Verizon Communications, Inc. On or about May 2nd, 2021, Verizon announced that they've entered into a stock purchase agreement with College Parent LP, an entity affiliate with certain investment funds, managed by subsidiaries of Apollo Global Management, Inc., pursuant to which Verizon agreed to sell all of the outstanding equity interests of Oath, Inc. and the Verizon Media Group for a total consideration of approximately $5 billion. On or about May 3rd, 2021, the Board's Bureau of Licensing communicated to YFS, informing them of the notice and approval requirements of the Act relating to a change of control of a licensed fantasy contest operator, including the potential for additional licensing requirements depending on the structure of YFS post-transaction. On or about May 4th, 2021, YFS acknowledged receipt of that Bureau of Licensing email and advised that the specifics of the transaction were yet to be finalized, but that they would keep the board informed moving forward as the transaction progresses. On or about September 1st, 2021, Verizon completed the sale without approval by the board. Subsequently, on or about November 21st, 2024, the sole manager of YFS was replaced by a newly formed legal entity, YFS Sub Voco LLC. As a result, Voco holds 100% voting control of YFS, affecting a change of control of YFS. Voco was formed to act as the sole manager of YFS, and this change of control was also completed without prior approval by the board. On or about December 1st, 2025, YFS filed a petition for non-proton approval of the two previously completed changes of control, which that petition was addressed earlier at this meeting. OEC now requests that the board approve this consent agreement and stipulation of settlement entered into between the parties. The terms of the settlement include that YFS pay a civil penalty in the amount of $50,000 to the board within 5 days of the board order approving this consent agreement. Also, within 5 days, YFS shall pay the board $3,500 for costs incurred by the board staff in connection with this matter. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to address them at this time.
Thank you. YFS, would you like to address the board?
Yes, we agree with OEC's recitation of the facts and can answer any questions you may have.
Any questions or comments? No. Hearing none, may I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board approve the consent agreement between the Office of Enforcement Counsel and YFS Sub LLC, doing business as Yahoo Fantasy Sports, as described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is adopted. Thank you, YFS.
Thank you.
This time, Deputy Chief Enforcement Counsel Dustin Miller will present default judgments for the board's consideration.
Good morning, Chair Smiler, members of the board. Dustin Miller on behalf of the Office of Enforcement Counsel, MILLER. The next matter on the agenda consists of enforcement actions in which the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a complaint seeking the revocation of licenses previously issued by the board. The complaints have been filed with the board's Office of Hearings and Appeals and properly served upon the person named in each complaint. The person named in each complaint failed to respond within 30 days as required by board regulation. As a result, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a request for default judgment and properly served the same upon each respondent. Therefore, the facts in each complaint are deemed admitted, all filed documents have been provided to the board, and the matters are presently ripe for the board's consideration. In each matter, we will provide a summary of the facts and make a request for the appropriate board action.
Good afternoon again. Juan Sanchez, Assistant Enforcement Counsel with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is the revocation of the gaming employee occupation permit issued to Homie Nguyen, who was previously employed as a tables games dealer at Wind Creek Bethlehem Casino. While working as a tables game dealer at Wind Creek Casino, Ms. Nguyen colluded with or otherwise allowed patron Mino to cheat by capping and pinching wagers in 61 instances. Mino, who is currently on the board's involuntary exclusion list, had a total of $89,745 in ill-gotten gains due to the dealer collusion. Law enforcement has not filed criminal charges against Ms. Nguyen. However, they filed criminal charges against Mino, which remain pending. Wind Creek Bethlehem has not received restitution to date and permanently evicted Ms. No. Ms. Nguyen is not currently employed in Pennsylvania's gaming industry. At this time, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests the board revoke the gaming employee occupation permit issued to Homie Nguyen.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey moves that the board approve the revocation of Homie Nguyen's gaming employee occupation permit for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Huffman seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Good morning again, Madam Chair, members of the board. Michael Rowland with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is a request to revoke the Gaming Level 2 employee occupation permit issued to William Salama. Mr. Salama was previously employed as a cage shift manager at Mount Airy Casino. An internal audit revealed that cage shift manager William Salama had been stealing money from ticket redemption unit cassettes. It was determined that Mr. Salama took approximately $71,200 from the ticket redemption unit cassettes during an approximate 2-month period. A review of video surveillance clearly showed Mr. Salama sliding the cash up his left sleeve of his jacket. Mr. Salama was criminally charged by the Pennsylvania State Police with 4 counts of theft by unlawful taking, all felonies of the 3rd degree. The charges remain pending. Mr. Salama was terminated from his position at Mount Airy and is not currently employed in the Pennsylvania gaming industry. The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests that the Gaming Level 2 employee occupation permit issued to William Salama be revoked.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Huffman moves that the board approve the revocation of William Salama's Gaming Level 2 employee occupation permit for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Quinones Sanchez seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Good morning, Sarah Kolesar, KOLESAR with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is the revocation of the non-gaming employee registration issued to Thomas Rist, who was previously employed as a maintenance worker at Mount Airy Casino. Mr. Riss was arrested and criminally charged following an incident at his residence where he physically assaulted his wife. Mr. Riss was convicted of two counts of felony offenses related to aggravated assault. As a result of these convictions, Mr. Riss was sentenced to confinement for a period of 4 months to 23 months, 29 days. Mr. Riss was granted parole and is not currently incarcerated. He is not currently employed in the Pennsylvania gaming industry. At this time, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests that the board revoke the non-gaming employee registration issued to Thomas Riss.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Quinones Sanchez moves that the board approve the revocation of Thomas Riss non-gaming employee registration for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Andrea Roberts, ROBERTS, Assistant Enforcement Counsel. The next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is the revocation of the gaming employee occupation permit issued to Mia White. Ms. White was previously employed as a player services representative at Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh. While counting her cashier's drawer, Ms. White stole approximately $230 from her cashier's drawer. Ms. White returned the $230 when she was confronted. Rivers terminated Ms. White's employment as a result of this incident. Ms. White was criminally charged for her actions. At this time, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests the board revoke the gaming employee occupation permit issued to Mia White.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board approve the revocation of Mia White's gaming employee occupation permit for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Sarah Grudy, Groody, with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is the revocation of the gaming employee occupation permit issued to Q Marcob, who was previously employed as a table games dealer at Mount Airy Casino. While Ms. Cobb was working as a table games dealer, 5 counterfeit bills were passed at her table by Shaquise Beard. Ms. Cobb arrived and departed from Mount Airy Casino with Mr. Beard. She also signaled to Mr. Beard to come play at her table just before he passed the counterfeit bills. Ms. Cobb resigned from her position. She was criminally charged for the incident. She is not currently employed in Pennsylvania's gaming industry. At this time, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests that the board revoke the gaming employee occupation permit issued to Kumar Cobb.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey moves that the board approve the revocation of Kumar Cobb's gaming employee occupation permit for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Huffman seconds.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Dustin Miller, once again, on behalf of the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The remaining matters on the agenda consist of enforcement actions in which the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed petitions seeking the involuntary exclusion of individuals who are inimical to the interests of the Commonwealth and/or licensed gaming therein. In each instance, the petition for exclusion has been filed with the Board's Office of Hearings and Appeals and properly served upon the individual named in the petition. The individual named in each petition failed to respond within 30 days as required by board regulation. As a result, the Office of Enforcement Counsel filed a request for default judgment in each instance and properly served the same upon each individual. Therefore, all facts in each petition are deemed admitted, all filed documents have been provided to the board, and the matters are presently ripe for the board's consideration. In each instance, if the board orders the proposed exclusion, each individual's photo, personal identifiers, and a summary of the inimical conduct may be placed on the board's public website. Once again, in each matter, we will provide a summary of the facts and make a request for the appropriate board action.
Once again, Sarah Grudy for the Office of Enforcement Counsel. The next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is the petition to place Shaquise Beard on the involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Beard passed counterfeit bills at Mount Airy Casino. He arrived and departed Mount Airy with Miss Cobb, the table games dealer working at the table where he passed the counterfeit bills. Mr. Beard was criminally charged and pled guilty to theft by deception for his actions. At this time, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests that the board place Shaquise Beard on the involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Huffman moves that the board approve the addition of Shaquise Beard to the PGCB involuntary exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Quinones Sanchez seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
The next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is the petition to place Joseph Soriano on the involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Soriano was caught breaking into vehicles parked in the parking lot of Mohegan, Pennsylvania Casino. Mr. Soriano stole a debit card and approximately $100 from the owners of the vehicles. He was criminally charged and permanently evicted from Mohegan. At this time, the Office of Enforcement Counsel requests that the board place Joseph Soriano on the involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Quinones Sanchez moves that the board approve the addition of Joseph Soriano to the PGCB involuntary exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Dunbar seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
Thomas Monan, once again with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. Next matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is a request to place Louis Bellatieri on the board's interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Bellatieri used his employment to fraudulently misappropriate over $6 million in his client's funds and used those funds primarily to fund his Pennsylvania interactive sports wagering accounts. Mr. Bellatieri was criminally convicted of wire fraud and incarcerated for his actions. The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests the board place Louis Bellatieri on the interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dunbar moves that the board approve the addition of Louis Bellatieri to the PGCB involuntary interactive gaming exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey seconds this.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's adopted.
The final matter on the agenda for the board's consideration is a request to place Philip Lickman on the board's interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list. Mr. Lickman created multiple accounts on the BetMGM and Borgata interactive gaming platforms using the personal identifying information of other individuals. All the accounts were closed and the devices used were blocked from being used. The Office of Enforcement Counsel now requests the board place Philip Lickman on the interactive gaming involuntary exclusion list.
Any questions or comments? May I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gainey moves that the board approve the addition of Philip Littman to the PGCB involuntary interactive gaming exclusion list for the conduct described by the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Commissioner Huffman seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes the business of the Office of Enforcement Counsel.
Thank you, OEC. The last item on the agenda today is public comment. Is there anyone in the room that would like to address the board? Seeing no one, that concludes today's meeting. The next public meeting of the board will be held on Wednesday, June 17th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at this location. And now, may I please have a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Huffman moves for adjournment.
Commissioner Quinones Sanchez seconds.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, Commissioner Dillon. Go back to your vacation. See you soon.
You're welcome, Madam Chair. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.
Where'd he go? Where did he go?